Over the years, I've been fortunate enough to stay at several of the different Walt Disney World Resort hotels. Today, I'll try to rank the ones I've stayed in to try to pick a favorite so far. And I emphasize try. Hi, y'all. I'm Chandel. Welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you've been here before. Thanks for joining me today. You know, every once in a while, I have people ask me what Disney World Resort they should stay at, and they ask me which is my favorite. I haven't stayed at all of the resorts yet, and I like different things about the different resorts that I've stayed at, so it's hard to pick a favorite. As for where someone should stay, that depends on a lot of different things, like the size of your travel party, your budget, how much time you plan to be in the room, which amenities you find the most important, and the list just goes on and on. I stayed at the value resorts for most of my earlier trips, but my very first visit was a family gathering with 10 people, and we stayed in my aunt and my uncle's travel trailer at the campgrounds at Fort Wilderness. I was 11 at the time, so it was all kinds of magic and amazing. I'm not into camping anymore, so I'll probably never stay at one of the campground sites again, but I've stayed in all of the value resorts, which are All-Star Sports, All-Star Music, All-Star Movies, Pop Century, Art of Animation, and the campsites at Fort Wilderness fall under the value category too. Pop Century became my favorite of the value resorts, but I haven't stayed there since the refurbishment, and though it looks really cool, I like being able to have use of the table and the chairs, and with that new Murphy bed that they've put in, you lose that table when that bed is in use. So I'm not sure about that anymore. The room I stayed in at Art of Animation was a Lion King family suite, and it was pretty cute, and it did offer more space than a regular room, plus it had the tiny kitchenette and an extra bathroom. The moderate resorts that I've stayed at so far are Coronado Springs and the cabins at Fort Wilderness. I think Coronado Springs is a beautiful resort, but I'm less of a fan of how spread out it is. I prefer the cabins at Fort Wilderness so far. If you have your own car, you can park right in front of your cabin, and it makes for a shorter trip inside after a long day at the parks. Fort Wilderness is really big too, so if you don't have your own car, you've got some extra walking to do to and from the bus stops, but my family really enjoys the cabins. As for the deluxe resorts, I've only stayed at one regular deluxe room, and that was Animal Kingdom Lodge, and I loved this resort. It's beautiful, and the savannah view we had was so nice and relaxing. I've also stayed at some of the Deluxe Villas. First was Bay Lake Tower, which is next to the Contemporary. This was so awesome. We had a lake view studio room, but we were able to watch fireworks if we went to the walkway that connected Bay Lake Tower to the Contemporary, and that was really cool. I also stayed in a studio at Boulder Ridge. This one is next to Wilderness Lodge, so it was so amazing walking through the gorgeous lobby of Wilderness Lodge, and then also the smaller lobby entrance of Boulder Ridge. I really enjoyed that studio, but I found the walk from the buses and parking lot to be really long once we went back to the room after going to the parks. I'm just always realizing how long of a walk it is to some of these rooms at the end of the night when I'm so tired. Anyway, I've also stayed in studios at both Animal Kingdom Villas. So I've stayed in a studio at Animal Kingdom Villas Jumbo House and a studio at Kidani Village. Both of these resorts are really nice, but I'm a little less of a fan of Kidani Village just because of the way it's laid out, and probably because I got turned around more than once while I stayed there, both in the parking garage and in the hallways, and I walked the entire wrong way and hit a dead end before I even realized I had made a wrong turn to begin with. Just the layout of Kidani Village is what bothers me, I guess, so I prefer Jumbo House between the two of these. I've also stayed in a one-bedroom villa at Saratoga Springs. This was about a year or so before the rooms were refurbished, or it might have been maybe in the middle of the refurbishment, but we didn't get a refurbished room that year. But you know what? I still really loved it here. We drove that year, And it was really nice being able to park our car like right in front of the building where our room was. And since this was the first one bedroom that I stayed in, it was so much more spacious. It had the full kitchen, washer and dryer in the room, and we had a really nice view from our balcony. And then finally, I've stayed in a 2-bedroom villa at Old Key West. I absolutely loved this villa. It had so much room, and even though most of the buildings don't have elevators, we had a ground floor villa. The parking was like right in front of our room. It really worked out well for us on that trip. I really have liked staying in all of the resorts that we've stayed in so far, but if I have to rank these from least favorite to favorite, I think it would go like this. Starting with the least favorite, it would be All-Star Sports, All-Star Music, All-Star Movies, Art of Animation Lion King Suite, Pop Century, Coronado Springs, the campsites at Fort Wilderness, Animal Kingdom Villas Studio, Kidani Village, Animal Kingdom Lodge, the cabins at Fort Wilderness, Boulder Ridge Villas Studio, Animal Kingdom Villas Studio at Jamba House, Saratoga Springs 1-bedroom villa, Bay Lake Tower Studio Villa, and number 1, my favorite, would be Old Key West 2-bedroom villa. Once I'm able to visit some of the other Disney World Resort hotels, I'm sure this list will change a little bit, but this is where I rank these as of right now. If you've stayed at any of the Disney resorts before, which is your favorite? Is anyone hoping to stay at all of the resorts like I'm hoping to do? If you're not subscribed to my channel, please take a moment to subscribe and also click the little notification bell so that you know every time I post a new video. Well, that's all for today, y'all. Thanks for watching. See you real soon.